it'll be interesting to see what the Knicks do. But the Knicks are at a point now where they don't have to blow it up. They may still do so, and they have a right to do so, but with trading the 4 first-round picks and the pick swap for Mikal Bridges, the Knicks don't have a lot of room in regards to actual picks to throw at people.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Plenty of takeaways from Yankees-Dodgers where LA sent the message on Saturday, and the only way the Yankees could salvage it was somehow beating Yamamoto, and they did.
You're staring a sweep in the face. And after losing the World Series, knowing what the opponent is, you know what the narrative would have been on Sunday Night Monday. Oh, Yankees get swept by the Dodgers.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The early line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of
15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Let's roll. This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency, the best suppliers, the hustlers, the people to bust over, and everybody else in between. Let's do this thing. The Twisted Tuesday has begun. Meanwhile, the party is about to begin in Sunrise, Florida, as the Florida Panthers are on the verge of winning back-to-back Stanley Cups as they are up 3-0 after 2 periods of play, and the Edmonton Oilers have seemingly hit a wall right now. Skinner can't stop a puck. And the Oiler players and the Oiler forwards can't put a puck in the net, and Bobrovsky is locked in. This is a terrible combination right now for the Edmonton Oilers. It seems imminent that the Florida Panthers are about to win the Stanley Cup, but we can still bet the game. That's why we have in-game betting. That's what in-game betting was created for. So the Edmonton Oilers are getting 3.5 goals right now. They're down 3-0. They're getting 3.5. Are they really going to lose 5-0, 6-0 or something like that? Probably not. You figure they eventually break through, but the question is, they need to break through like in the first minutes of the period. Like they can't break through with a garbage goal like late in the game. That doesn't matter. Like they need goals quickly. And you know, it's funny, when they were down 3-0 a couple of games ago, I actually thought they could come back. I didn't I was like, you know what? If they score the next goal, they'll be fine. They can chip away and get back in this thing. The Oilers can score in bunches, but this just feels different tonight. Coming off the terrible performance on home ice in the last game, they pretty much followed this up right now. The Panthers are just better than they are. And it's not just that the Panthers are better. The Panthers are psychologically tougher than the Oilers are. Like, if you look at the Oilers bench right now, you saw the bench in the second period there. You know who they look like? The Toronto Maple Leafs bench in Game 7 against the Florida Panthers. So say what you will about the Toronto Maple Leafs, and they're going to blow that whole thing up, and they're firing people, and Marner's gone and all this. But if you look back on it, the Leafs actually gave the Panthers the toughest series. But similar to the Oilers, they couldn't win big games on home ice, right? Florida are a damn good road team, and now they're handling their business on home ice. So the Oilers are getting 3.5, minus 140 right now. The Panthers minus 3.5, plus 110. If you want to play the total, let's focus in on this right now. I did jump in. You know, when it was 2-0, actually, the total fell to 4.5, and I was like, really? It was minus 210. I parlayed it with the Canada soccer game coming up in a couple of minutes. We'll get to that later. We're kicking off in about 25 minutes from Vancouver. And, I could have went to the game tonight, but I was like, nah, you know what? Game 6, Stanley Cup Finals. It's a big night. And could be, these games are going to overtime and stuff. Like watching this terrible game, I was like, yeah, I probably should have went to the soccer game tonight. Some Gold Cup action with Honduras and Canada. But we'll get to that in a couple of minutes. Total's 5.5 right now. Plus 145 to the over. I don't think that's a bad bet. I can't promise you it's going to win. We never can. But I don't think it's a bad bet when you consider the Oilers season is on the line here. So what are they going to do? They have no choice whatsoever but to attack early in this period. Like if they're going to die on your sword. You know what I'm saying? There's no more, we have time. It's still early. It's not still early. It's getting late early, as Yogi Berra once eloquently stated. So it's not early. The period's about to begin right now. It's 5.5 plus 145. Yeah, it's 3 goals, but if the Oilers score a quick one, this thing's going to open up. Because the Oilers can score in bunches, and then the Oilers are going to pull the goalie with like 5 minutes left if they're down 3-0, right? I doubt they're going to be down 3-0 still by the time we're at the end of the game. So I would say let's go over to 5.5. I'm already on over 4.5 in this game. Plus 145 over, plus money. You can't argue with plus money. All right, for soccer fans, it's been a great couple of days. It's going to be a cool next month or so with the FIFA Club World Cup. Whether they're selling tickets or not for some of the games, that's not your problem. And I think I saw today. I want to confirm. I want to be sure if it was the Haiti game, but no, it wasn't. It wasn't Haiti. Haiti is in the Gold Cup. Haiti played. Who the hell did Haiti play the other night? But Haiti played in San Diego, and there were literally like 600 people in the stadium, if that. Like they were, 400 or 500 people. There's too many soccer games, and you're putting them all over the place in these weird random cities, right? Like, who the hell's going to go to a soccer game on a Monday afternoon in Atlanta? Like, look, you put it in New Jersey, New York today, it worked, right? With Dortmund, people went. But, you put it in Atlanta, you sort of get what you're going to get. But, some of these games, there's literally, hundreds of people in the stands, but some of them are packed. So it's sort of all over the place. But that's not our problem because it's been entertaining on TV. And we can tell you right now, Inter Milan are playing for the first time since they got throttled by PSG in the Champions League final. They got Monterrey right now. Listen, I saw Monterrey up close. We play the Vancouver Whitecaps in the CONCACAF Cup. And Vancouver actually survived on the aggregate and advanced playing Monterrey. So right now, Inter Milan ended up closing at minus 188 favorites in this game. Monterrey scored first in the 25th minute or so. And then Inter Milan responded near the end of the half. So we got a 1-1 game. The second half has just started right now. One thing to take into account here. We talk about how home field, home ice, it doesn't really mean what it used to anymore. But in soccer, it kind of does. Right? I mean, these fans are freaking nuts, right? We saw it with the Boca Junior fans. The Boca Junior fans took over the stadium in Miami, and it was, packed. And it was like a road game for Benfica suddenly. And, how many people from Milan? And, all right, you got some hardcore Inter Milan fans and stuff, but Mexico's right beside California. This is like a home game tonight for Monterrey. And it's at the Rose Bowl. So, just to note. So, Monterrey 1-1 with Inter Miami. Big time game here. Our boy, there's more games at the Rose Bowl coming up, and we'll get to that. And we got Canada and Honduras. We'll get into that in a couple of minutes, but we still got time. That kicks off at 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific. Things got real in the WNBA tonight. Basically, every Indiana Fever game that involves Caitlin Clark, there's going to be bad blood and crazy stuff is going to happen. But it was Sophie Cunningham that got into it late in the game. It was sort of it looked like there was going to be a little malice at the palace, mini brawl breakout. Listen, I'm not surprised. You see these women hate each other. The WNBA players, there's it's nowhere near the NBA. Like, NBA players might compete and stuff. Dude, they'll be smoking weed together and kicking it at a barbecue or at a strip club next week, no problem. Oh, you beat me in the playoffs. Yeah, no, you know what I mean? So what? Right? Some guys actually they've lost and gone to the team that's partying after they won the championship. The WNBA, these girls would like whack each other if they could, like that episode of Law and Order. Like, it gets real in the WNBA with these women. Like, they freaking bring it. And the level of hate for Caitlin Clark is like next level right now. And listen, it's fun to watch. It's good for ratings. It's like, you know, fighting in hockey is good. Fighting in NASCAR is good. Attention is good for business. Let's just call it out for what it is. And speaking of attention, San Diego and Los Angeles are playing again. They don't like each other. This game has just started at Chavez Ravine. It's Vasquez versus Dreyer tonight, so it's basically nearly another bullpen game for the Dodgers, but they won last night in this setting. We got a full house tonight. Let's roll. Bring it.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts, so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're gonna go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's gonna help me get the job done. There is not gonna be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Cages. Let's get lucky.
Let's roll. This is Sports Rage. I am Gabriel Morency. We're kicking it to Twisted Tuesday. We got a full house. Our boy Rick Saratella throwing it down with us. I tell you what, college football is like rapidly approaching. We're now 73 days away from like some big time games, actually. And we're going to get into it with Rick and from an NFL draft perspective and a lot of cool stuff coming up in the college football world this year. All hell's breaking loose behind the scenes. I'm not really fully paying attention to it because I don't really care. But like we all know, like the Big Ten and the SEC sort of we've said it for years, right? Like the Big Ten and the SEC has been running the show, and the Big Ten has come on, and they sort of bullied everybody else, and they took over, college football. Now they're starting to turn on each other, the Big Ten and the SEC. And there's a lot of like arguing going on about this expanded playoff format and stuff. But really, like, how does that help us? Doesn't help you, doesn't help me. All we do know is there's a bunch of kick-ass games that are opening up the season with a bunch of big-time quarterbacks going head-to-head. And we do know the Edmonton Oilers are in big trouble. We know that dude with the blonde hair and the white gloves is in the building with the Stanley Cup tonight. And the Florida Panthers are in control 3-0 over the Edmonton Oilers right now. Edmonton have outshot them 20-18, but it's deceptive. They really haven't had many legitimate scoring chances. And the ones that they have had, Bobrovsky's made big saves. I talked about this earlier in the series with Skinner, and I've been a Skinner defender, but I brought up the constant breakaway goals. And anytime somebody gets alone on Skinner, they score. And not only that, they're scoring on the exact same effing move all the time. He's too back in his net. He goes down too early, and they're just coming in and going over his shoulder all the time. And these guys aren't even snipers, and they're doing it. Like, it's just textbook that, like, they perfectly scouted him, and then they actually execute it after. But Skinner's got to come up with one of those saves. But listen, if you're not going to score, you're not going to win. And the Edmonton Oilers aren't scoring. The question is, how many goals are we going to get in this third period right now? The in-game total has fallen to 4.5 already, minus 200 to the over. I think this is going to get to 5. The Oilers are going to pull the goalie with 6-7 minutes freaking left if they have to. If they don't score, things could get crazy here in the last couple of minutes of this game. And maybe the Oilers can finally break through and score a goal. The Oilers are plus 3.5 right now, minus 130, over under 4.5, over 4.5, minus 200, under 4.5, plus 160. Andrew McKinnis in the house. WagerTalk.com. Cam Stewart with us. McKinnis, what do you think about the end game right now in this third period of play? I'm expecting goals.
He gone.
If we lost McKinnis, well, he was ready to go. There he is.
Hey, there he is.
We can get McKinnis's audio up as well, too, please. Moving forward. Yeah, it's moving forward for everybody. Like every guest and everyone in the studio here, I'm going to snap. Make it effing sure, people. Like if you're a guest, you come out, make sure your mic is on. If you're in the booth, make sure the guest mics are on. Everybody's got to make sure their effing mics are on all the time. And McKinnis looks like Seinfeld with his shower
hairdo.
Up with your hair tonight, McKinnis.
Yeah, what happened? No flair. That looks a little bit matted there, McKinnis. Gabe, I'm with you. 5-0 final or 5-1 final. That's what I'm thinking. Like Edmonton, it's the last game of the damn Cup final. Go down swinging. I agree with you.
The Oilers have about as much energy as my hair does right now, and it's not that much. I'll tell you that much. I mean,
what's going on? What happened to your hair?
Yeah, what's going on? No volume. What's going on, McKinnis? Nothing?
No volume. We're letting the hair breathe. No product today. No product. Just letting the hair breathe a little bit here, boys. But you know what? One bet that I made before the game started was plus 205, third period to be the highest scoring period of the game. Ooh. And, obviously with that late goal at the end of the second, at the end of the first.
Do you get your money back if it pushes, or do you need to win? Or do you get your money back, or is it with the two, is it like a push or a win if they get 2 in this period?
Yeah, it'd be a push. It'd be a push. There's different.
So it won't be a loss then, at least.
Yeah, you can make it like a draw. Some of them will be a draw, but the thing is that I was so scared to bet the under in this game because there's obviously every single game in the series has gone first period over, full game over, but I actually did like the under. So what I was like, you know what? Forget about it. I think if this game does go over, it'll be because of the third period. So we'll see if I'm proven right here. Guys, when it comes down to it, that rebound was awful by Stuart Skinner. You're never going to hear me blame anything on a goalie when a team has 0 goals. That's a rebound you can't have. But guess what happened before that rebound? 50 seconds of pure dominance. Looked like it was a 5-on-3, let alone maybe even a 5-on-2, the way they were cycling the puck around the zone. Stuart Skinner had to be better there, but I mean, Ekholm and Bouchard with that turnover on the first goal, he gets danced, top corner, ends up on his knees. At the end of the day, doesn't matter how many chances you give Florida, because when they get a good one, they score. And for the Oilers, you guys know when you're at a hockey game and there's like that annoying casual fan that just yells, shoot it, shoot it. And like, you're like, shut up, man. You don't know what you're talking about. That's what it's like right now. They literally need those casual fans to yell, shoot it, shoot it. Because
95% of the time, the guy yelling, shoot it in the rink is right.
That's me.
Yeah,
That's me, Morency.
I mean,
always shoot the puck from anywhere. I don't care. Shoot it.
Those casual fans want there to be like 85 shots in the game. But at the end of the day is like they need to have more. Corey Perry can't be the guy leading the way with 4 shots. It just can't happen.
That's the whole point, McInnes. When you have 0 goals, maybe you should shoot the damn puck from behind the net and hope it goes off the guy's back and goes in the net. That's the whole problem. Do something different instead of your plays. Shoot it from anywhere. Get traffic in front. It's not rocket science.
I saw, Gabe, your tweet about the fact that they're probably going to have to like throw something at Bobrovsky, like anything he can see, he can save. It's like, are they not saying that in the room, guys? And I know that's the biggest cliche in hockey, but are they not going into this game saying, let's just junkyard dog this and throw everything we can at the net? Like even McDavid, those 2 plays he had, it was good defense, but he tries to make that perfect, like 2 or 3 dangles, backhanded pass, and then he drives the net, Bobrovsky poke check. It's like, dude, you're wasting all this energy and no shots. You can get the O-zone all you want. No shots.
I think it's a case of which it gets in their head because it's easier said than done.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
Plenty of takeaways from Yankees-Dodgers where LA sent a message on Saturday, and the only way the Yankees could salvage it was somehow beating Yamamoto, and they did.
You're staring a sweep in the face. And after losing the World Series, knowing what the opponent is, you know what the narrative would have been on Sunday Night Monday. Oh, Yankees get swept by the Dodgers.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Does a guy like Giannis fit onto that roster if you can make some of those changes?
I just don't see a KD pursuit as being realistic for the Knicks. But hey, if they can pull a rabbit out of a hat, as Leon Rose oftentimes can, I'd go after Giannis in a heartbeat. It's just, what type of package could they entice for the Milwaukee Bucks? And is it a 3 or 4 team trade? It gets a little bit tricky in that regard.
You see the Knicks there with a plus 340 price.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
The Minnesota Vikings, J.J. McCarthy, who had such a good training camp last year, and it looked like he was pretty good, I believe, in the preseason, if I'm not mistaken, ended up going down for the full year. The Vikings are still obviously committed to him.
They knew that McCarthy was going to be available at some point in June. And McCarthy actually went on record last week and confirmed 2 weeks ago he was cleared medically. He did work last week. And he's going to be their starter.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency. All right, I want to get to my soccer picks here. We'll get back to the hockey, but I'll just say this. One thing about the Florida Panthers is, like I said, they're just a lot deeper than the Edmonton Oilers are, and it shows. Like, the Panthers don't have a couple of players. They've got like 12 players that can beat you. And normally it's like a copycat like stuff in sports, but the modern general manager are so stuck in their ways. And if you look in the NBA in the past years, it's all teams that have won. The Raptors were a team. The Milwaukee Bucks were a team. The Denver Nuggets were a team. Yeah, they had a star player, but they play as a team, and they're not like, oh, let's get as many star players as we can. And same with the Florida Panthers. The Florida Panthers have a lot of dudes on their team that other teams wouldn't want to pay, right? Oh, I don't want to. I'm not paying Sam Bennett 10. Like, I've heard this about Bennett. He's going to want $10 million in free agency. Well, I'm not going to pay Bennett $10 million. He doesn't, you got to get to the playoffs first. He's more of a playoff player than a regular season player. And it's like, the Panthers saw Marchand and said, you know what? He'll fit in perfect with what we do. Other teams could have got him. They didn't, right? Like, other teams could have, everybody in the NHL knew that Seth Jones was unhappy. The guy complained after every game publicly, right? Everybody in the NHL knew the Blackhawks have to trade Seth Jones. The Panthers stepped up and did it. And you can't always talk about taxes and this and that. They're just, give them credit. They put together a hell of a hockey team full of a bunch of grinders. Like, they're like old school. They're like the old school Boston Bruins, or like the, Philadelphia, dare I say, not the Broad Street Bullies, but like, they're just an old school throwback type of team of like big dudes. And I guess even in the old days, they weren't even that big. Sort of like the year 2000s, like the Devils of the world and stuff like that. But because teams in the 70s weren't actually that big. But
mean Finns too, Gabe. Mean Finns, like Barkov and the other Ristolainen. Like, that's the whole thing. Those Finnish guys are animals, man. That's the thing. Like, they're just a perfect mix of like toughness, skill, anger, everything. You said it. They're just a perfect team. They're perfect.
When it comes down to it, guys, before every game starts, imagine being Barkov and Tkachuk and thinking to yourself, I could literally like sit out this game and my team could win 5-1. Mm-hmm. Like, if McDavid and Leon both like were having off nights, this is what happens. Like, I've seen some diehard Oiler accounts calling out those two players right now. And sure, it might be rightfully so, but the fact is, the last game, Marchand scored twice and Bennett scored. You can get this guy and that guy. There's so many different groups of players that score, right, for the Panthers.
McDavid and Draisaitl. McDavid and Draisaitl have disappeared, though, McInnes. And it's fair to call them out. They've been a no-show.
I know,
but listen, I got to get to my soccer pick here. Again, the Oilers suck.
I don't care about no Oilers right now.
Whatever,
Honduras, Canada.
I like the jersey. I like the jersey.
And listen, not having Zach Hyman hurt a lot too. He's actually a lot more. He's actually a lot more physical of a player than people realize. So losing that element, he's like, he was going to grind and bang with these guys. I'm not saying they would have won with him. I'm just stating, not having them caught up to him a little bit. And let's call it out for what it is. Skinner and Pickard were pretty good earlier in the playoffs. They were pretty bad in the Stanley Cup Finals, right? It is what it is. But all right, let's go to the best of X. My Canada Honduras picks here. We got the Gold Cup. Thank you very much. All right, so Canada are like minus 250 favorites right now. The Hondurans are no joke, and they're not going to be easy to score on. So you figure there's not going to be a ton of goals in this game, but Canada needs to win this game. It's in Canada. It's the only game in the Gold Cup. It's in Canada, so they have a home field advantage. BC Place is going to be packed tonight. Canada to win, and Canada to have more corner kicks than Honduras. Same game parlay, plus 110. Canada to win, as we're going hard on this one. We got a bunch of picks. The fact that they're kind of big favorites here, we got to get creative with this, right? So that's why we're going with the different, the different angles. But Canada definitely will have more corner kicks than Honduras. They're going to be a lot more aggressive in this game. I like Jonathan David to score a goal at plus 120. I like over 8.5 corner kicks in the game. And I like Canada minus 2.5 corner kicks in this game. And it's always dangerous when you bet both teams to score no, right? Because, if we're betting on Canada and the prop loses instantly, the bet loses instantly if Honduras scores a goal. But I don't think they will. I think Canada's going to win 2-0 or something. Mm-hmm. Maybe 1-0, 2-0. I don't think it'll be a track meet, but Canada to win, both teams to score, no, plus 105.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
Plenty of takeaways from Yankees-Dodgers where LA sent a message on Saturday, and the only way the Yankees could salvage it was somehow beating Yamamoto, and they did.
You're staring a sweep in the face. And after losing the World Series, knowing what the opponent is, you know what the narrative would have been on Sunday Night Monday. Oh, the Yankees get swept by the Dodgers.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Does a guy like Giannis fit onto that roster if you can make some of those changes?
I just don't see a KD pursuit as being realistic for the Knicks. But hey, if they can pull a rabbit out of a hat, as Leon Rose oftentimes can, I'd go after Giannis in a heartbeat. It's just, what type of package could they entice for the Milwaukee Bucks? And is it a 3 or 4 team trade? It gets a little bit tricky in that regard.
You see the Knicks there with a plus 340 price.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
The Minnesota Vikings, J.J. McCarthy, who had such a good training camp last year, and it looked like he was pretty good, I believe, in the preseason, if I'm not mistaken, ended up going down for the full year. The Vikings are still obviously committed to him.
They knew that McCarthy was going to be available at some point in June. And McCarthy actually went on record last week and confirmed 2 weeks ago he was cleared medically. He did work last week. And he's going to be their starter.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back, everybody. This is SportsRage Late Night. Cam Stewart, along with Gabe Morency and McInnes. Gabe's got a lot of bets. I wish I erased all those Oilers bets, McInnes, and maybe put it on the Canada-Honduras game there. I can tell you one thing. We're going down with the ship here, 3-0, 7 minutes and change left, McInnes. I'm not even sure if we're going to get that total, because even if they pull maybe 4, I got to believe they'll concede at 5, maybe 5-0 final. Is that what you're thinking? Like, what's off the top of your head right now? Because they're down 3-0. When do you think they're going to pull the goalie? Probably in 2 minutes?
That's the thing. It almost comes down to pride, right? At this point, how many times do you want to let them score an empty net goal? You see it go through once. Once it gets to 4-0, Cam, you almost look at your players on the bench and you're almost asking them, hey, do you want me to keep doing this? That's the thing. And we've been waiting all series long for an under. And one thing we can look at for using next season, I found that a lot of times this year we were seeing higher scoring games, first few games of a series. And as the series moved forward, we saw it get lower scoring. Many people believe that the last game shouldn't have gone over, right? There was that a couple goals in the last few minutes to push that one over. So maybe something for us to keep in mind that early in the series, we see goals, late in the series and closeout games, we look for unders. But Gabe was talking about that win to nil bet for Canada. I'd love to know what a win to nil bet would have been for the Florida Panthers.
Yeah, exactly. Any baseball action tonight, McInnes? I'll go through the scoreboard. Well, we got a good one between the Mets and Braves. 4-4, bottom of the 10th there. Seattle, we're on them. They're up 5-0 on the Boston Red Sox, who have been hot. Devers with the Giants and Cleveland Guardians. We're tied at 1 right now, but that game is locked. Houston up 2-0 on the Athletics. They're minus 2.5 live, money line 295. You know what, McInnes? I took the Athletics last night and they won. I'm going to take them plus 2.5 in this game, down 2-0. Give it a shot. Anything with the Padres and Dodgers right now, Padres up 1-0. NCAA baseball, those damn Arkansas Razorbacks doing it again. Another great pitching performance. They're up on UCLA 7-0. Any baseball for you, McInnes? Empty net goal, Florida. We just talked about it. I don't know if they're probably one more and then we'll call it a night, McInnes.
Wow, that early, 7 minutes to go, pretty much. 6:57. Wow, they get it already. Well, I feel like every time you and I speak together, I'm on the Mariners, so maybe the Mariners are my second team here.
Mariners too.
Got the Mariners again here. Yeah. I wanted your thoughts on this one. You know how a lot of times, like with certain sports, you look towards an opening number.
Yeah, we talked about it. 4-0.
this. 4-0. We need one more. I got over 4.5 here. What did I say before, too, that they would pull the goalie with like 7 minutes left?
Mm-hmm.
And boom, they pulled the goalie with 7 minutes left.
At 5, though, Gabe. I think it's one more. You'll get one more. And after that, if it's 5-0, I think they might just say, screw it, right? Like, I would keep them out the whole game, but who knows what the hell they're going to do. But I believe they'll get one more.
Yeah, I would think they would tap out, too, after 5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They'll put the goalie back in here for the face-off, right? You know what I mean? But I imagine they pull him again. What's the difference if you lose 4-0 or 5-0? But once it's 5, you're not, you're not scoring 6 goals in 5 minutes. But let's hope, McInnes and Kim. Like I said, I got over 4.5. And McInnes, so you need at least one more goal for a push here, right? That's not terrible if you get the push.
Well, we were just talking about how the fact that like some of these series, throughout the whole entire playoffs have started off high scoring and then they gradually towards the end, they get lower scoring. Well, the last game probably didn't even deserve to go over. We had some garbage time goals for the Edmonton Oilers, a garbage time goal probably for the Florida Panthers. So the thing is, I was just saying to Cam, Gabe, about the pride, right? Like how much garbage time will we really see here? I mean, every single person on this team is going to be deflated. Like, key defensemen, bad turnovers. Superstars, no goals. Skinner, bad rebound. Like at this point, what is it going to do by pulling the goalie? Just let the fans celebrate in your face one more time? Like, I don't know. If I'm Chris Knobloch, I'm looking at McDavid and being like, do you want me to do it, buddy?
No, but you gotta. The thing is, there's still 6 minutes left in the game. You gotta go down and then one more. Pull them one more time.
It's like though, like NBA teams get called out for that, McInnes, right? But the Oilers have quit. They quit a long time ago too. Like they were, that third goal just broke their will. That's another thing too. The Panthers keep scoring late in periods all the time. They've done that. They beat the Leafs like that. It would be tied, and then boom, next thing you know, the Leafs would be losing, and then they score late and then early in periods. It's what good teams do.
I'd argue the second goal game,
but
I'd argue goal 2 was the one that broke them. I mean, before the period going 1-0 after 1, you can deal with that, but 2-0 after 1, they weren't coming back from that.
They should have been able to.
Yeah, they should have, but no. Right. But you saw their body language after. It's like, again, these guys did it again, like late, like
but they never recovered from the last game, evidently. It's the exact same thing. It's just rolling into this game. They got lit up in the last one, and they're getting lit up in this one, which just, I'm not going to say they're mentally weak because it was a hell of a run for them, but they're not as mentally tough as the Panthers, and physically as tough. It's sort of like Oklahoma City, guys. Like Oklahoma City, they just badgered you so much that it adds up that it's hard to beat them, right? You know what I mean? Like they make less mistakes. They're not as flashy as you. Like you said, McKiss, the Panthers don't need a lot of shots on goal to score. I've been talking about this forever, right? Like they can be getting outshot 24-12 and they'll be winning 3-0. And it's not like, oh, the other goalie must suck. No, right? Like they get a chance, they effing bury it. Look at Marchand. He gets on a breakaway, he scores, right? Reinhardt, he gets alone, they score. We've seen it time and time and time again. They made plays. The Oilers players did not. And, God bless Corey Perry, but this dude's a curse. Like, the guy's lost 5 of the last 6 Stanley Cups now type of deal. Like, at some point, it'd be like, yeah, you know what? Like, yeah, you're a good player, but you got some weird voodoo going on here, bro. There's a lot of guys. The guy's on every year. He's on the losing team.
Evander Kane did some really dumb things in this series too. Like the Oilers have to look at the mirror and say, "What the hell, man?" Like you lose to this team last year. You come back a little bit stronger. I know the goaltending wasn't great, Gabe, but just Florida. You said it. Like Florida beat them up and took their will. They were actually lucky not to lose in 5 when they came back down 3 goals to win that game. That's just Florida's been the better team. It's not even debatable. Not even close.
They'll be the big autopsy after about all of this. Listen, like, oh, should McDavid leave and blah, blah, blah. No, he's still young. The Oilers are really good. They're knocking on the door right now, but they got to take a couple of, they got to get a little, they got to tweak things a little bit. They got to get better defensively and stop screwing around and get a real goalie. Mm-hmm. Like Skinner and Pickard's it's just not good enough. And like I said, I'm not blaming the goaltending at all for them losing this series, but their goaltending did not help them at all either. Let's call it out for what it is. Skinner was good all playoffs. He was bad in the cup, right? He made a couple of saves early, but he fell apart as it went on.
I'm not defending McDavid and Draisaitl with this question here, guys, but I'm curious what you guys think. Not from the results this series so far, but going into the Stanley Cup Finals, besides Connor and Leon, who were the three best players on the Oilers? I'm curious what you guys think. If you had to list out, because that really tells us a lot.
Oh, there's the fifth goal. They got another empty netter.
Oh,
so 5-0 with 5:05 left right now.
Like, is Nugent Hopkins one of the best players on this team? He can't be, because he's on the top line. He hasn't done anything, So Corey Perry's the curse, which I get what you're saying.
I'm not making excuses for Hopkins, but he's been hurt for real. Like, he can't even practice. He can barely walk and stuff. They're rolling him out on the ice. I would have said Zach Hyman, to be honest with you, right? And Zach Hyman's gone. And I would say Bouchard offensively. Yeah, but it sort of goes back to the point about just being a sort of deeper team, right? You know what I mean? It's not just the stars, but you can't dispute them, kids. Like, the third and fourth line of the Edmonton Oilers are nowhere near as good. The defensemen are nowhere near as good as the Florida Panthers are.
Yeah, 100%. Look at the Panthers, and the Edmonton Oilers are rolling out
Seth Jones.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, come on, let's get real.
Yeah, like this is another thing too. They had a different lineup all the time because he was searching for answers, and they just didn't step up.
No,
it's a team effort. The Oilers lost as a team, point blank.
They did.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis, because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
Plenty of takeaways from Yankees-Dodgers, where LA sent a message on Saturday, and the only way the Yankees could salvage it was somehow beating Yamamoto, and they did.
You're staring a sweep in the face. And after losing the World Series, knowing what the opponent is, you know what the narrative would have been on Sunday Night Monday. Oh, Yankees get swept by the Dodgers.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Does a guy like Giannis fit onto that roster if you can make some of those changes?
I just don't see a KD pursuit as being realistic for the Knicks. But hey, if they can pull a rabbit out of a hat, as Leon Rose oftentimes can, I'd go after Giannis in a heartbeat. It's just, what type of package could they entice for the Milwaukee Bucks? And is it a 3 or 4 team trade? It gets a little bit tricky in that regard.
You see the Knicks there with a plus 340 price.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
The Minnesota Vikings, J.J. McCarthy, who had such a good training camp last year, and it looked like he was pretty good, I believe, in the preseason, if I'm not mistaken, ended up going down for the full year. The Vikings are still obviously committed to him.
They knew that McCarthy was going to be available at some point in June. And McCarthy actually went on record last week and confirmed 2 weeks ago he was cleared medically. He did work last week. And he's going to be their starter.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Let's roll. This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency. They're going to be handing out the Stanley Cup in a couple of minutes. And I talked about this before the series started. I said you could bet who they're going to hand the Stanley Cup off to. And it's just so freaking random, right? You don't know. It's like they don't give it it's not necessarily like, oh, they're going to give it to the star player. It's whoever the team wants. And who knows who the team wants? Who knows who the team likes? Who knows? Behind the scenes, who knows if someone's sister has cancer in the hospital or something? You know what I mean? You don't know this stuff. You know, they get all emotional. Oh, you take it there. Like, so you could bet on that. I did not bet on that, but we did tell everybody to bet on the over 5.5 at plus 145 coming into this period. Like I said, I even said the Oilers will pull their goalie with like 7 minutes left, and they did. So it's 5-1 right now with 2:15 left. People that have the 6.5 are hoping for more here. Yet the Oilers goalie is in the net right now, which doesn't make any sense. If you pulled the goalie down before down 4 and you made it 5-1, why not just pull the goalie now again? Like, why? Like, I mean, I would pull the goalie here down 5-1. I think Evander Kane just got kicked out of the game.
Really? Can I bet on that? That's a lock.
He didn't want to shake
hands. He was sent off the ice. Let's see, what did he do? That wasn't that bad. He slashed Kachuk. Yeah, actually, you know what? It was pretty good. No, I'm seeing the replay right now. It was a pretty, like, bitch-ass movie. Slashed Kachuk right in the elbow, like, swung like a baseball bat. And the ref was like, just get off the ice. And Kane is smart because this way he avoids the handshake line. I guess he could come out, but I don't think he will.
Oh,
and
you see that?
This way he doesn't have to watch. Right now he can just he's going to be right in the shower. And he can say after, oh, you know what? I was in the shower and I was going to come back out. But like, you know what I mean? He could avoid all the prolonged pain of standing on the ice for a couple of minutes.
I'm sorry, Gabe. We've known each other for long years, but I don't care what he did. You sit in the room and you come back out for the handshakes. I don't care. Like, that's ridiculous. If you get kicked out, you got to go back on the ice. You can't say, no, I'm not shaking your hand. Stanley Cup final. Come on.
I crap
really.
You
do that. Yeah, like you got to go back.
That was a good
You used to stay in the room?
Looked at Kane and said, good game, buddy. He pretended to shake his hand. He said, I'm not going to see you after the game. I'll shake your hand.
I think that's ridiculous. I think, I don't know. I think that's sacrilegious, to be honest with you. I don't care. You play this game as a war and you do something candy ass like that. You go and shake the other team's hand. You might want to kill them, but that's just the way it goes, man. Be a man. Don't be a baby.
Part of sports.
I've got no issue. I'll put it this way. I really don't care if Evander Kane comes back out to shake their hand. Like, you know what I mean?
Saying it's the
I
right
won't be
thing
upset either way. That's what I'm saying.
Say me and you fought, okay? I stick you with.
Well, Paul Maurice didn't shake the hands of the players after.
He's a coach.
And Brindamore flipped out about it after.
Yeah, but this guy's been in series against Dallas, everybody else, the King. Like, you owe it to your, like, it's just one of those things. It's like a rule. Like, just show some class. Like, you got kicked, go back and shake the guy's hand. You won the Stanley Cup, and then freak out afterwards. You know,
I don't even know. Personally, I don't even know if he's allowed back out. Like, to be honest, I don't know I don't know what the precedent to this is. Right? You know what I mean? Like, if you're kicked out of the game, you can't come back out on the ice. But I know the season's over. Put it this way: if he's coming back out on the ice to shake people's hands, but we're talking about Evander Kane here too. Like, he could come back out and like punch Kachuk in the face. You know what I'm saying?
I just made a shiv when I was in the room.
That's why I'm just saying, like, if I'm Evander Kane's agent, I'm like, you know what? It'd be better if he doesn't go back out. Like,
the guy's in there whittling a spear.
The thing is, Kane, like, they won't, like, and like you just said, McKinnis, Kachuk's gonna chirp him again. Like, you know what I mean? And Kachuk's a pro smack talker. He's really good at it. So, like I said, I won't get upset either way, but we'll see if he goes back out or not. I don't know the precedent of this. Like, if someone gets kicked out of the game before the game and coming back out.
Even if your team, whatever, and we had a rivalry and I stick you in the head, like, you know what I mean, because of emotion, you come back and you shake the guy's hand. Is, Cam, that's what you do.
The thing is, these dudes all freaking see each other in a tunnel, bro. They're all coming out at the same time. Like, he could easily shake their hand and, like, go on and say, hey, guys, I wasn't on the ice. Good job. You know, it could easily happen.
I'm just saying it's protocol. Like, he doesn't have to go back out on the ice. I just think it's proper. That's me. We have a difference of opinion or whatever. I think it's more important than other people do.
Would you go back out if you were Kane McKinnis?
Yes.
What? No, I think it's not about. You could be the biggest scumbag in the world. You play hockey. That's how it is. It's like in the UFC. You play. You're a UFC fighter. You respect your fighter at the end of the fight. I don't care if
they don't all respect each other. That's a pile of crap.
But they most do, like in a good war. You kill each other and you just hug it out.
They used to. Now they don't. Like, a lot of these guys don't care. You know what I mean? But no, I get your point. I get both of your point. I'm not disputing it. I'm just stating, I don't know. His skates are going to be off. He's going to be in the shower right now. He's pissed off. Like, You know, I don't either way. Like I said, I'm not going to be all like anti-Evander Kane for not doing this. I'm more anti-Evander Kane. He did a lot of stupid things on the ice during this finals.
Yeah, you got issues with all the other things, but everything else. No, he was horrible.
The cup too.
He's very stoned.
I changed the channel right away.
He's a selfish player. That's why he travels so. I told you guys, Gabe. We've talked about this.
Okay, here's the
line.
No, he's not really. You know, Cam, there's a difference. He's individualistic in his own world, but teammates like him when he plays because he plays hard. You can't dispute he plays hard.
He takes stupid penalties, man.
So does Corey Perry.
Yes,
so does Corey Perry.
Yes, he does. Yeah, they both do.
I can't believe the Florida Panthers just won back-to-back cups, and we just gave 3 minutes to Evander Kane.
Fans are loving it. Ooh, Panther party.
Talking about Evander.
Well, now I'm just looking. I'm trying to see. I'm trying to see if he's on the ice shaking hands here.
We'll see.
Which I don't see him.
I respect Florida for this, guys, because they went to the handshake quick. Like, this is what I was saying, that they didn't want to, they didn't make it wait around. They went right to the I respect that.
It's the right thing.
It's another thing, too. There's two ways, too. Like, you'll see the Oilers here. Like, some guys will leave right away. Some guys are going to stand and watch this for whatever reason. I've done both too in the heat of the moment. I remember I remember storming out right away, and I remember sitting there watching forever.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis, because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
Plenty of takeaways from Yankees-Dodgers where LA sent a message on Saturday, and the only way the Yankees could salvage it was somehow beating Yamamoto, and they did.
You're staring a sweep in the face. And after losing the World Series, knowing what the opponent is, you know what the narrative would have been on Sunday night, Monday. Oh, the Yankees get swept by the Dodgers.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Does a guy like Giannis fit onto that roster if you can make some of those changes?
I just don't see a KD pursuit as being realistic for the Knicks. But hey, if they can pull a rabbit out of a hat, as Leon Rose oftentimes can, I'd go after Giannis in a heartbeat. It's just, what type of package could they entice for the Milwaukee Bucks? And is it a 3 or 4 team trade? It gets a little bit tricky in that regard.
You see the Knicks there with a plus 340 price.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
The Minnesota Vikings, J.J. McCarthy, who had such a good training camp last year, and it looked like he was pretty good, I believe, in the preseason, if I'm not mistaken, ended up going down for the full year. The Vikings are still obviously committed to him.
They knew that McCarthy was going to be available at some point in June. And McCarthy actually went on record last week and confirmed 2 weeks ago he was cleared medically. He did work last week. And he's going to be their starter.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Congratulations to the Florida Panthers, back-to-back Stanley Cup champions in not, somewhat dominant fashion, actually. It went 6, but the way that they handled the Edmonton Oilers, basically, it's like a fight, right? It's like an MMA fight or a boxing match. They had a classic first fight, went 12 rounds, and people were like, but that other dude really came on in the last couple of rounds, man. And, if they fought again, let's see them fight again. Well, they fought again. The same dude won, and he won more convincingly this time. Right? Will they meet again? It's not crazy to say that they could actually both be in the Stanley Cup Finals again next year. But I think the Oilers have to tweak things, and I'm not taking anything away from the Florida Panthers, but the Eastern Conference is easier to make the Stanley Cup every year than it is in the Western Conference. It just is, right? Like the Western Conference is a slaughterhouse. But congratulations to the Panthers. Hell of a hockey team. So, McInnes, before we get you out of here, just for the record, 0-0 Honduras and Canada in the 18th minute right now. We got an interesting one going on, and it's still tied, actually. We're at the 92nd minute right now. Monterrey and Inter Milan. Inter Milan getting all they can handle from the Mexican Liga MX team. Monterrey 1-1 right now. Late in the 93rd minute of this game, except we have a VAR coming up here. So anytime there's VARs in the house, you never know what's going to happen. McInnes, before we get you out of here, CFL football this week. Who do you like in the CFL this week?
I think the first game of the week is going to be really entertaining, Gabe. I'm kind of waiting to see how high that number gets. If it can even get all the way up to 7.5, I might be on the really ugly dog. That's one of those ones that opened up at 5.5.
Wow.
6.5 now. We'll see. That one's going to climb because nobody in their right mind took Edmonton at 5.5. So it immediately goes 6.5. It's going to climb. But if I don't end up getting that 7 or 7.5 that I like, I might just take the over 48.5 in that one. Because I think that if Edmonton even shows any sense of pride coming off their bye, it's probably going to be points. And one thing I've noticed with the Montreal Alouettes, they're one of those teams that interceptions and turnovers lead to points. Sometimes in the NFL, I noticed like an interception could take away potential points. They just go down immediately. With how big the field is in the CFL, you get an interception, you're gaining 30, 40 yards going the other way. Wouldn't be shocked to see points in the opening game of week 3. And it might shock you to believe it here. The two teams I usually talk bad about, I'm going to take Ottawa on the money line here. If we're going based on preseason rankings and kind of where I head to certain teams, I got to look at Ottawa and say, I trust their weapons. They got a lot of great receivers. And with Matthew Schultz starting last week against Montreal, it's almost like Ottawa said, you know what, Drew? We're going to just rest you. You're probably good enough to go if it was a playoff game. We're going to rest you. You get ready for next week against Calgary. That's a winnable game. We're probably not going to beat Montreal. I like Ottawa on the money line against Calgary this week. And, I'm not saying this happens every single time in the CFL with these rapid revenge angles, but I'm leaning towards the BC Lions side here at home. The reason being is because I think that number is going to get more inflated. People will remember what they saw last. They're going to back Winnipeg. Winnipeg will get road money. And if we can get 3.5 at home this time around for BC, I'll take it. I think this team can turn it around, play a bit better. And sure, Winnipeg looked that good with Strevler. How good will they look with Zach Collaros? Zach Collaros went 1-3 last year in his first 4 games with a ton of interceptions. I think BC can bounce back and at least keep it within a field goal.
Argos Riders.
I have my concerns about BC McInnes this week, specifically about Nathan Rourke, right? He's got an oblique strain, something to keep our eye on right now going into this game. Because I tell you what, Jeremiah Masoli, this guy should be a coach in the CFL. He shouldn't be a player anymore. And he's the BC Lions backup right now. And the way that offensive line plays, looks like the backup quarterback is going to play. And I tell you what, Nate Rourke might just be a guy that has a hard time staying healthy. Hard time staying healthy last year. He's had a problem with the BC Lions. And I know it's early, guys, but
I agree, Gabe.
You have to wonder if they made the right decision or not. And Vernon Adams is better than he is, right? You know what I mean? Nate Rourke took, just call it out for what it is. Vernon Adams has been more consistent. Nate Rourke had a great year in the CFL, ran to the NFL for 2 years, and has not been as good since he's come back. Just point blank. You know what I mean? I'm just being real with that. And he's a hell of a lot better than their backup is, too. So I got my concerns about the BC Lions this year, actually. And the last game, McInnes, what are your thoughts on it?
Gabe, to be honest, compared to last week when I was on here with you on Tuesday, I had a ton of picks already decided. Not really sure, but I might go against Riders here.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
Plenty of takeaways from Yankees-Dodgers where LA sent a message on Saturday, and the only way the Yankees could salvage it was somehow beating Yamamoto, and they did.
You're staring a sweep in the face. And after losing the World Series, knowing what the opponent is, you know what the narrative would have been on Sunday Night Monday. Oh, the Yankees get swept by the Dodgers.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Does a guy like Giannis fit onto that roster if you can make some of those changes?
I just don't see a KD pursuit as being realistic for the Knicks. But hey, if they can pull a rabbit out of a hat, as Leon Rose oftentimes can, I'd go after Giannis in a heartbeat. It's just, what type of package could they entice for the Milwaukee Bucks? And is it a 3 or 4 team trade? It gets a little bit tricky in that regard.
You see the Knicks there with a plus 340 price.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
The Minnesota Vikings, J.J. McCarthy, who had such a good training camp last year, and it looked like he was pretty good, I believe, in the preseason, if I'm not mistaken, ended up going down for the full year. The Vikings are still obviously committed to him.
They knew that McCarthy was going to be available at some point in June. And McCarthy actually went on record last week and confirmed 2 weeks ago he was cleared medically. He did work last week. And he's going to be their starter.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, so congratulations to the Florida Panther organization and, more importantly, their fans. They've been through so much. They're such hardcore hockey fans. They live and breathe hockey 365 all the time. So it's nice to see a traditional hockey market win again. And we should have known better. Like, just basically, out of spite, you just take the team, like, in the city where the people care the least, right? They'll have, like, 1,800 people at their Stanley Cup parade, but they're a damn good hockey team. Same with Vegas. I'm not going to say that people don't like going to Vegas games and stuff, but Vegas went to their town and they started going to the Stanley Cup every year. Let's see if people in Vegas go if they were in last place. Which I don't know. Eventually they probably will be. You got to figure the cycle catches up to them. But the Panthers, damn good team. But we should note now too, 5 of the last 6 Stanley Cup champions are from tax-free states. You can do what you will with it. Right? You can do what you will with it. And the Steamroller's getting a chuckle out of that. And we got a goal. Can we get the goal sounder here? Yeah, I understand we got a goal sounder. We use it for the soccer game. I didn't want to encourage any goal sounds for the Panthers tonight, Cam. I shut it down.
All right, thank you, Gabe.
I was told, hey, we got a goal sounder for the hockey game. I said, no, we don't know goal sound.
No, we don't do Panther goals here. No.
So Canada strikes first. They break through.
Hey, good for Canada.
Yeah, who was it that scored? It's somebody that I didn't have. I'll tell you that. I don't know who the hell just scored, but anyways, 1-0 Canada over Honduras right now. Yeah, we need this. I got to be honest. I was more fired up for this game than I was the Stanley Cup game. I'm not an Oiler fan. I kind of knew things were going to end poorly. At least we hit the in-game over. And et cetera. All right, we got the steamroller in the house. Just quickly for everybody, Inter, not Miami, although they are in this tournament, but Inter Milan, the real ones. Inter Milan just drew with Monterrey. Final score 1-1. So Monterrey from the Mexican League looks strong here. That's a nice draw for them right there. Yeah, especially Cam against a powerhouse like Inter Milan.
Amazing.
Big time point for Monterrey from the Mexican League.
No, was Inter playing their full team, or was it one of those? Yeah, we're going to take most of the summer off. Did they bring a full squad?
No. Yeah, no, this tournament's the real deal. It's their. I'm not saying their players are happy about it, right? But it's the real deal. It's the FIFA Club World Cup. So it's not like, oh yeah, we're playing an exhibition or we're playing in the MLS All-Star game or something like that. No, it's
Right.
real. But there's a difference, guys. I don't think people realize. I talked about this on Twitter today. You know how much money camps like a golf tournament? You know what I mean? Or how much is in the pot? You know how much money is in this FIFA World Cup pot here that they're playing for? $1 billion.
Ooh, yeah, you're right. That's a lot of cake. That's
Yeah,
a lot.
yeah, like,
How many teams?
No,
How many
it's
teams
not.
are we talking about?
The 32 teams. The winning team gets $125 million.
Okay, so what does every team?
And the way it works is
get a
the team takes like half, like the owner and the team keeps half the money and the players take half the money. So like, long story short, a team wins this thing, the players will be splitting up like $60 million type thing.
Just a quick question. So like a golf tournament, all these teams made the cut, but the team, like you said, that got lost 10-0, the guy who drives the forklift.
I have the pay structure right here.
They get like, they got like a couple hundred. Yeah.
No, it's pretty gratuitous. Like if you win in a group stage, if you win one of these opening round games, you get $2 million.
Okay.
If you tie, you get $1 million.
Nice.
Round of 16, if you win a game, you get $7.5 million. Quarterfinal, $13 million. Semifinal, $21 million. Finalist, $30 million. Winner, $40 million.
What do the losers
So, like,
get?
that's
That's what I want to know. The teams that get knocked out early, like who have no chance. How much do they get paid just for being there? That's the question. Like a cut.
Well, if they don't, they gotta at least you gotta win to get paid. That's what's good about the tournament.
Oh.
You gotta win games. But you do get a check for showing up. Your federation gets a check for showing up.
Mm-hmm.
So like that team from Auckland, like New Zealand's gonna get $3.58 million for losing 10-0. So it's steamroll. It's like a bowl team. It sounds like college football, and we need a patsy. So it's like, all right, Auckland, you were in the tournament. You're going to lose. You lost 10-0 to Bayern. You're going to lose 8-0 to Benfica. But here's a nice $3.5 million check for the federation.
That softens the blow. I like that. At least that's what I was saying. Like it's like a cut. Like they made the thing. They get paid.
And FIFA is going to spend $250 million in whatever region in youth soccer. And so whatever like region wins.
Cool.
So, like, if Europe wins, Europe gets the 250. If South America wins, their federation gets the 250. They're throwing a lot of freaking money around. It's Saudi money. The Saudis like everything. It's almost like Live. The Saudis like paid $1 billion for the rights on DAZN and stuff, and or DAZN, whatever. But anyways, all right. So we got the steamroller in the house. Scott, me and Cam are a little bit. I'm not bitter. I would have preferred if the Edmonton Oilers won, but I had an Oiler future plus 400. The party's over. It's done.
Me too, Gabe. And another thing is, remember, last year I had the Panthers, like, ooh, Edmonton, whatever. And you're watching these games going Florida. I just couldn't do it again. But kudos to the Panthers. They're a way better team. Edmonton bit the dust. What are you going to do?
So if
any
Mexico,
hockey action for you, Scott?
I didn't play this one. I played the over pretty much the whole tournament and laid off. I thought Edmonton was in trouble, and I didn't know how much they'd be able to contribute. So I laid off this game, but the over had been very good up until now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it would have went over tonight, but Edmonton just didn't. Edmonton didn't give us anything tonight. They scored that one late goal, but the in-game overs, Cam, that was just softens the blow a little bit there.
Excellent point by you, and great bets too in the third period, because you know they're going to pull the tender. Like those bets are just they're common sense bets, right? Like in hockey players, they don't go down without a
an
fight.
elimination game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
like,
So good call by you. And I'm just really shocked. The Edmonton Oilers sucked, and I've never seen a team, Gabe, in the first period come out so bad, and it cost them the Stanley Cup. Florida won every first period in every game. Like you can't continue like in a football game go down 14-0, 21-0. It catches up with you, and it did.
Yeah.
They got outscored 13-4 in the first period of this series.
Unacceptable.
Can't do it.
It's impossible to win that way, right?
Nope. Mm-hmm.
You know, you're gonna get outscored. And you know what's crazy? I saw that tonight. Like I knew coming into tonight, it was actually it was 11-4, and I saw it was All right, so Sam Bennett wins the MVP, Conn Smythe Trophy. Sam Bennett. And, God, talk about timing and money. Sam Bennett's a free agent. So you just tack on another, he's going to want $10 million a year, guys. The only thing is, as we talk about all the time, I just said about the tax-free stuff. Let's say you're the Vancouver Canucks or you're the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'd say the Toronto Maple Leafs. So I don't think they're going to be offering people. The Canucks are going to be offering people $12 million. But I'm just saying, if you're the Leafs, you offer Sam Bennett $10 million. He's going to get taxed 45% of that if he plays with the Leafs in Ontario. So suddenly that becomes six. Let's call it 6.5, creative accounting, whatever. Let's say whatever. He's losing a lot of the money. He could just say, I'm going to stay with the Florida Panthers for $8 million. But the only thing is, you can't get played by the Panthers just because it's tax-free, right? You also have to try to get as much money as you possibly can out of this.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency. Level 2 rolls on the SportsGrid Radio and Television Network. The Steamroller from HitThePick.com and much more with us in the house right now. Cam Stewart with us as well. Rick Saratella will join us. We'll get into some football. Hockey's done. But just one thing, like I said, 5 of the last 6 winners have been tax-free states. And hockey players don't make as much money. It's like, if you're in the NBA, you don't care. You know what I mean? Like, guys want to play for the Lakers. They don't care. They're going to get taxed in California. But you know, they're also making a hell of a lot more money. You know, the guy on the bench in the NBA is making $24 million a year nowadays. The best player in the NHL is making like $12 million now, right? Marner's going to want 14, and Marner's agents already told people tax-free state teams first. They're going to listen to, right? And there's also word too. I always thought too that the LA Kings would be a good place for him, Marner and Hollywood. I suppose the Kings are going to go all in on Marner, but Vegas is going to go all in on him. He probably ends up on the West Coast out there in a tax-free place. So it's almost like you hear Raptor players talk about they don't like the border and customs. They talk about players are like, you hear, and I always wondered about that. I'm like, what the hell are you guys talking about? Like, you literally, all you do is show them your passport, they stamp you, and you keep walking. And if you're the Raptors, you're taking a private plane, and I know on the private planes, I know someone who worked at the airport doing this. They go on the plane. You don't even go in the damn airport. Exactly. Like, they come on the plane when you're rich. They come on the plane and they see you. So, but it's funny. I was watching a podcast the other day of a dude that used to play on the Raptors, and he was saying that it was super angering. And you got to think about it with people from money's perspective, because he said, oh, I don't care about the passport stuff. But he said, man, he goes, I bought a Rolex, when I'm in Texas, I buy a Rolex or something, and I come back from a road trip, I got to pay this massive tax on it. And you do, like, the duty and stuff, right? Like, coming in, like, with the goods over a certain amount. And NBA players, everything they buy is over a certain amount. So, like, Buddy's talking about, like, I know it sounds like first-class problems, but, like, he was talking about, like, he goes, man, I had, like, $220,000 worth of jewelry. I was in the airport for, like, 3 hours with these, like, clowns, right? And they're making them fill out papers, and he's going over stuff. And he goes, bro, he goes, if you play for the Orlando Magic, you don't got to deal with that. And I know it sounds like, oh, boo-hoo and stuff, but if you have a choice and you're that, you know what I mean? You have a skill and you have a choice between getting screwed around and taxed up the ass and paying for your Rolex all the time, coming back at the airport, and every time you got a new chain, you got to pay them. Because I like what he says. He goes, man, I already paid big money for the chain. I paid a tax for the chain. Now I got to pay Canada a tax for the chain. Right? So I understand their bitchiness about it. All right, so speaking of the NBA, Steamroller tomorrow is an off day. We're back at it Thursday. NBA Finals. Is this thing going to get extended to 7 games right now?
No.
What's your take on Game 6 in Indianapolis?
Yeah, nobody's going back to OKC except the Thunder, man. I think this is over. I think they had their shot in Game 5 and in Game 4, and they let it get away. They had that chance to go up 3-1, and they absolutely let it get away there in the fourth quarter. So I think Indianapolis is done. I wish it weren't true. I like this series. It's been a lot of fun. I'd like to see a Game 7, but I just don't think it's going to happen, man. It's I'm laying it with the Thunder in that one.
I want to buy in, guys, that the Pacers can extend this, but you have to be super concerned about Halliburton's health right now, right? He's talking about, well, I'm going to play. If I can walk, I'm going to play, but doesn't mean he's going to play well. And we saw Steamroller. He didn't play well when he was hurt, right?
No.
He didn't. And he wasn't playing well before he got hurt, right? So he was scoreless. He wasn't playing well. He gets hurt. And now, they would have been better off just leaving McConnell on the floor, actually, and they had a rhythm going, and then Halliburton threw them off again. I'm not saying don't play Halliburton in Game 6, but I got to question just what he can actually bring to the table, to be honest.
Yeah, I totally agree. He's got to be 100%. He's got that calf. He's got that calf problem. Anytime you got a lower leg problem in the NBA, it's got to affect your shooting. You're not getting your takeoff. You're not getting your lift. You're not releasing the ball at the same spot that you're used to. You're going to have a lot of balls come up short, and I think that's exactly what we're going to see on Thursday night.
All right, so you think Oklahoma City? It's up to 6.5 now, guys. You think they're going to cover, Scott? The 6.5?
Yeah, I do. It may be a sweat. Indiana may show up. I think they're going to show up a little better than Edmonton did tonight. But I think at the end of the day, I think OKC pulls away. We've seen it time and time again. This team just goes out there and wins the fourth quarter. They know how to get it done, and that had been Indiana's MO coming into this series, and it's kind of Oklahoma City has kind of turned the tables there with a couple of late covers. So yeah, I think they get it done again. We may even need free throws to get it done, but an elimination game like that, those guys are going to be fouling 5-6 points down with 30 seconds left. The kind of stuff you don't usually see in the NBA. I think that's exactly what we're going to see there. So I'm laying it with confidence.
Any late night baseball for you, Scott, here? We got the Mariners drilling the Red Sox 8-0. San Diego and LA are tied at 3 guys in the bottom of the 4th. Guardians up 3-2 on the Giants. 5-0 Stros over the Athletics. Any baseball for you, Scott?
Yeah, I was on the the Giants with Robbie Ray. He'd been really good. The Giants were 12-2 in his start, so we'll see what happens there. I did not expect a good outing out of Festa. And where are we at here? We're in the 6th. Festa's still in there, so yeah, he's had a really nice outing, giving up just 2 runs through 5 innings. So that was a little bit of a surprise. I thought Robbie Ray would do a little better job with the Guardians than he has. He's been red hot. My only word in baseball right now is fade the Nats. It's a terrible team. They lose 10-6 to Colorado, giving Colorado, I think, their 2nd road win of the season. No, it's if you can't beat Colorado, you got major problems. So, and I think they have major problems there.
Man, if Colorado played in the National League East, they'd be good, Cam. Remember, they beat the Marlins, and now they beat the Nationals. They're in the wrong division, these guys.
Good call. Yeah. No, I bet them against the Marlins and Nats. It works out. That's the time I take Colorado.
One thing about the Rockies, people have to remember that. Imagine these poor bastards. They play the Dodgers, San Diego, Arizona, San Francisco. Like, they don't have a hope in hell. Yeah. They get bludgeoned, right?
That's a great point. They get up for playing like the Marlins. Like, we could beat these guys, the Nats, right? Like,
they think they get fired up for these series. They're like, we're not overwhelmed.
Exactly.
They're happy to be somewhere. They're just happy to be somewhere where their breaking balls still curve.
Exactly.
Scott Steen, the steamroller.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
Plenty of takeaways from Yankees-Dodgers where LA sent a message on Saturday, and the only way the Yankees could salvage it was somehow beating Yamamoto, and they did.
You're staring a sweep in the face. And after losing the World Series, knowing what the opponent is, you know what the narrative would have been on Sunday night, Monday. Oh, the Yankees get swept by the Dodgers.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Does a guy like Giannis fit onto that roster if you can make some of those changes?
I just don't see a KD pursuit as being realistic for the Knicks. But hey, if they can pull a rabbit out of a hat, as Leon Rose oftentimes can, I'd go after Giannis in a heartbeat. It's just, what type of package could they entice for the Milwaukee Bucks? And is it a 3 or 4 team trade? It gets a little bit tricky in that regard.
You see the Knicks there with a plus 340 price.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
The Minnesota Vikings, J.J. McCarthy, who had such a good training camp last year, and it looked like he was pretty good, I believe, in the preseason, if I'm not mistaken, ended up going down for the full year. The Vikings are still obviously committed to him.
They knew that McCarthy was going to be available at some point in June. And McCarthy actually went on record last week and confirmed 2 weeks ago he was cleared medically. He did work last week. And he's going to be their starter.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
All right, we got another goal in Vancouver. British Columbia, Team Canada puts another one on the board before they go into the room here. 2-0 goal.
Wow.
2-0.
I thought it was going to be 2-0, but now Honduras is probably going to have. Gabe, this thing might go like 3-0, 4-0, like that. 2.5, like they could be. This is at the half, right? So, what do you think the final's going to be? That's the question. How many more goals?
I'll tell you what. They're not going to let up, Canada.
That's it.
Like, they won't Like, Canada's not going to say, wow, we're up 2-0, let's just pass the ball around. Canada want to make a statement. Like, and for the record, too, this wasn't talked about much, but Jesse Marsh, the coach of Team Canada, who's actually American, but as we know, he's a pretty vocal person. And if you guys remember in the Copa, and he was out of line, actually. And I'm the first, and I love the guy, but I'll be the first to admit it. He was out of line. I don't even remember, Cam. Like, he stormed the pitch. He got in the ref's face. He started, like, throwing garbage cans over in the tunnel, like, after and stuff. And he really, really does not like referees, this guy. And look, he accused Mexico of poisoning the Whitecaps. Like, he's always got a hot take, this dude. So he got suspended. He's actually not on the sidelines with Canada tonight. He's in the building, but he's allowed in the press box, but he's not allowed on the sideline. So they're going without him, but they want to make a statement, this team. I got Canada at plus 600 to win the entire Gold Cup. In fact, I think I got plus 650, actually. I want to double check right now, but I'm not getting ahead of myself here. There's some good signs in this thing, but I would be disappointed as a Canadian soccer supporter if they didn't make it to the final. Like, the expectation for this club, they're expecting, like, the team thinks they're going to make it to the final. Like, basically, they're not going to say it publicly, but they're like, they think they're playing Mexico in the final, and they want revenge. They lost to Mexico last time. So, the U.S., we'll see. Everyone says the U.S. sucks, but maybe they'll go, they'll get hot here suddenly. They did win 5-0 the other night. And hockey, who says hockey's done, Cam? Hockey's not done. The Charlotte Checkers and the Abbotsford Canucks are tied at 1 right now, and their series is actually tied too. So they're tied at 1 in their series. They're tied at 1 in the game right now. There's been a lot of controversy and crazy stuff in this series, guys. In one of the games the other day, the Charlotte Checkers and the Abbotsford Canucks, there was I think it was in overtime, or it was a couple of seconds left in the game, but I think it was in overtime. And Seelovs, who was the goalie for the Canucks last year in the playoffs, he's on Abbotsford right now, and he's carried them. This is the reason why they're here. But during the face-off, he wasn't ready. So, and the face-off was won by Abbotsford, but Buddy, snapped it backwards toward the net, Cam, and Seelovs was, drinking water. So he had his back to it, and he turns around, and the puck is in the net, and Charlotte celebrated. And the thing is, they told Seelovs, basically it was Seelovs' fault. Seelovs just basically ignored them. The ref was like, hey, we're about to start the play here. And Seelovs yeah. And he sort of had to wander, and he put his helmet on, and the puck goes in the net. And then Seelovs starts flipping out, and they bailed him out, actually. They said, yeah, he wasn't ready, and that we shouldn't have dropped the puck. And then Abbotsford ended up winning after. So, Charlotte was really pissed, and it was in Charlotte, too, that all this happened.
Can you
but then
believe
Charlotte won the next game, I think, in overtime.
But this is my point. So the Stanley Cup Finals, remember, so the first game in this series, Abbotsford wins in double overtime, and the other game went to overtime. The Stanley Cup Finals, it's these games are going to overtime and double over. That's pretty weird if you think, right? So, yeah, the Charlotte Checkers are the team of the Florida Panthers. So success
that's
everywhere.
Just super annoying. They better not do the daily double. They better not sweep both.
They're the Panthers,
especially against the Canucks. We got to get some cup. The Calder Cup, Cam. It's the Calder Cup.
Hey, Calder Cup's a great trophy, Morency. Respect the Calder Cup, but no, I like Abbotsford. They got the Canucks.
You know what's lame, though, Cam?
Uniforms and stuff. It's nice.
I don't understand why these networks don't air this.
Yeah, I agree with you.
People like hockey. You have the AHL. It's, you know what I mean? All these guys that are playing in this, they're all NHL prospects and and guys that are in the NHL, etc. It's high level hockey. But the AHL, I don't know what the deal is. Why they don't sell the rights to the finals or something like that. But basically, if you want to watch the AHL, you got to pay them $9.99 on their website.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
Plenty of takeaways from Yankees-Dodgers where LA sent a message on Saturday, and the only way the Yankees could salvage it was somehow beating Yamamoto, and they did.
You're staring a sweep in the face. And after losing the World Series, knowing what the opponent is, you know what the narrative would have been on Sunday Night Monday. Oh, Yankees get swept by the Dodgers.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Does a guy like Giannis fit onto that roster if you can make some of those changes?
I just don't see a KD pursuit as being realistic for the Knicks. But hey, if they can pull a rabbit out of a hat, as Leon Rose oftentimes can, I'd go after Giannis in a heartbeat. It's just, what type of package could they entice for the Milwaukee Bucks? And is it a 3 or 4 team trade? It gets a little bit tricky in that regard.
You see the Knicks there with a plus 340 price.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
The Minnesota Vikings, J.J. McCarthy, who had such a good training camp last year, and it looked like he was pretty good, I believe, in the preseason, if I'm not mistaken, ended up going down for the full year. The Vikings are still obviously committed to him.
They knew that McCarthy was going to be available at some point in June. And McCarthy actually went on record last week and confirmed 2 weeks ago he was cleared medically. He did work last week. And he's going to be their starter.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Let's do this thing. The Twisted Tuesday continues. This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency, SportsGrid Radio and Television Network, Sirius XM Channel 159. Let's talk football. Countdown to kickoff is on. Less than 48 hours away until week 3 of the CFL kicks off. But college football and the NFL, for the record, actually, the countdown is on and it's getting real right now. But college football kicks off before the National Football League, and I really cannot recall, guys, a season in which we have so many big games in the first week of the season, specifically so many quarterbacks who are potentially the first overall pick in the National Football League draft actually going head-to-head. Rick Saratella, allaccessfootball.com, NFL Draft Bible. Rick, always a pleasure, man. Let's do this thing.
Hey, Gabriel Morency, the best day of the week during the summertime to talk football is Tuesday nights. You know this, brother.
And I appreciate that, Rick. So, listen, man, you and I talk about the draft year-round, and it was no secret this past quarterback class was thin. The 2026 class is anything but thin. Yet, we just don't know who's going to be the guy when it's all said and done. And we've seen this in the past, guys. I mean, hell, last year at this time, Carson Beck was the favorite to be the number 1 pick in the NFL draft. Carson Beck's going to be playing for Miami, but not the Dolphins, the Miami Hurricanes this year. NIL stuff has changed a lot. If guys don't have a good year, they have the option of going back and making more money than they would for a year in the National Football League anyways. But I'm just fascinated by this, Rick, because Arch Manning is the favorite to be the number 1 pick. Dude, he's playing Ohio State in his first game, right? Like, that's as real as it gets. So, like, when people want to find out what's Arch Manning really all about, well, we're going to find out on August 30th against Ohio State. Drew Aller is the second choice out of Penn State, guys. He's plus 400 to be the top pick. Penn State sort of have a soft landing to start the season. He's going to have a chance to put some numbers up, although he's not really a numbers guy. His first game is like a month in, like week 4, they play the Oregon Ducks. Garrett Nussmeier. Garrett Nussmeier is like plus 450 right now, Rick, to be the top pick in the draft. He's playing Cade Klubnik in the first game, bro. LSU versus Clemson. Like, this is some, like, big-time stuff from a draft and a scout perspective, man.
Yeah, the press boxes are going to be full with NFL personnel, and I love it. I mean, let's get it on the table. Week 1, you mentioned the Texas Ohio State game. I like the Longhorns to win that game. And so let's begin the Arch Manning hype train, because the 2 starts that I saw, I liked it very much. He had the confidence to zip the ball into tight windows. He's a trucker on the wheels now. Like when he's in the open field, you got defenders. They don't really want that heat. They're out there making business decisions. Arch Manning is confident. He's already put about $5 million in his pocket the last 2 years with NIL money. Oh, by the way. And then the LSU, Clemson. I mean, you talk about 2 guys that could be in the mix as the potential number 1 overall pick. I'll tell you this about Nussmeier. 40% of his completions last year went for 9 yards or less. He's a Charlie checkdown. I'm not saying that in a negative way. Bo Nix is similar in that fashion, but he doesn't give you that big play, downfield throwing ability as some of the other quarterbacks. Like Arch Manning has got a cannon, right?
As far as Nussmeier is concerned too, I like him. I think he's good, but I don't see it as like him as a franchise saver. I see him as a guy that, he could be a good quarterback if he was surrounded by a ton of talent type of guy in the NFL. So let's see. Maybe I'm wrong about this year, and I don't fully believe in wins and losses, but it's not like he's dominant out there, right? As you stated, I saw him live. There's a lot of checkdowns, interceptions. I know he's a gunslinger, and I know people like him, but if I asked you right now, it's interesting, too. It's an interesting question of mine. I want to pat myself on the back. You'll see if it's interesting or not. But you have Nussmeier, who puts up big numbers. But everybody puts up big numbers in that LSU program, right? So I'm not taking anything away from him, but every quarterback has put big numbers up in the LSU offense. You have the best wide receivers. But what state produces wide receivers like these guys? So, and then you got Drew Aller, who doesn't put numbers up. Right? He doesn't put numbers up. He wins football games, but he doesn't have anywhere near the talent. Like Penn State have stud running backs all the time and stuff, but you and I both know he's never really had great weapons at the wide receiver position, and quite frankly, a type of offense that lets him throw the ball all the time. Who do you like better from an NFL perspective? 5 years from now, who's better, Nussmeier or Drew Aller?
There's a lot to unpack there. I think I'm a Nussmeier over Aller guy, and here's why. Because, nobody was really talking about Jaden Daniels or Joe Burrow at this juncture of the season going into their final year of LSU. Nussmeier came back because he can take the next step. Like, he did throw for 4,000 yards last year, but it wasn't splashy. And I will say this in his defense. Like LSU, he almost thought about transferring out because LSU did not provide him with the wide receivers last year like they're accustomed to. So they went out and got some big play wide receivers, which I think maybe he may test the waters a little bit more downfield. And Drew Aller, I'll put him in the same boat because to me, he was the hindrance of that Penn State offense. He was the one that actually held them back, holding on to the ball too long, scared to throw the ball downfield. And maybe we see that change, but in Drew Allar's defense, his biggest weapon was a tight end, right? So
in Tyler Warren, you're right, and he used him a lot. But you're right, and that's what I'm saying. You can't say Penn State don't have good players, but you know what I mean as far as in offense and putting numbers up. Yeah. That's why, guys, when you look under the hood of this stuff, Arch Manning. Look, there's been 3 Mannings in the NFL. They're all Pro Bowlers, right? And from Archie to Eli to Peyton. So the bloodline is there. They're expecting the slam dunk success there. But is it a slam dunk that he's even in the draft, right? I mean, he's still young. He's not in a rush right now, which leads me into an interesting story. All the talk about NIL all the time. Lenoris Sellers, South Carolina Gamecocks. His father recently said that his son turned down an $8 million deal to transfer. $4 million per. It was 8 if you stay another 2 years, 4 for 1. And he said that he left it up to his son, Rick, to make the decision. He said, son, it's your life. You make the decision, what you want to do about this. And he said, money's not important to me right now. I'm happy where I am. And truth be told, he's going to be making a lot of money about a year from now, right, Rick? What about Lenoris Sellers and what he brings to the table, kind of flying under the radar here? And to put in perspective, guys, Sellers became just the 3rd freshman in FBS history to throw for 2,500 yards and rush for 500 more yards. The only other 2 players to do it were Johnny Manziel and Jalen Hurts. What's your take on Sellers right now?
Well, I mean, he might be flying under the radar, but not by NFL decision makers, because when I polled front office men down in Mobile, like, hey, who are you looking at in terms of quarterbacks next year? Sellers is the name that kept popping up. So he's got an interesting backstory, by the way, because he originally, first he was going to go to Virginia, then he committed to Syracuse. While he was committed at Syracuse in high school, he suffered an injury where his chest bone punctured his heart. He almost died. And so he's got an incredible backstory. He wound up going to South Carolina, and I think it's the best move for him in the long run. Like, a lot of times people think, I'll enter the portal, the grass is greener on the other side, I'll put some bank in my pocket, everything will be all gravy. You mentioned Carson Beck. Ask him how that's going for him so far.
Carson Beck chases girls in Lamborghinis, bro. Like, let's be real.
Yeah, so, I like the move. I think South Carolina is building something there. Like, this team is going to be heavy contender. I think South Carolina.
They punch above their body weight, don't they? Let's be real. Like, you know what I mean? Like, as far as in the SEC, they don't have the same resources, but people love Beamer. Kids love them. And you see this. Players don't want to leave. They stay there even though they're not making as much money as they could in some other spots. We're throwing it down with Rick Saratella. Time always flies. We'll talk some CFL and UFL championship. Wow. Wow. The DC Defenders were not effing around, man.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis, because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
Plenty of takeaways from Yankees-Dodgers where LA sent a message on Saturday, and the only way the Yankees could salvage it was somehow beating Yamamoto, and they did.
You're staring a sweep in the face. And after losing the World Series, knowing what the opponent is, you know what the narrative would have been on Sunday Night Monday. Oh, Yankees get swept by the Dodgers.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Does a guy like Giannis fit onto that roster if you can make some of those changes?
I just don't see a KD pursuit as being realistic for the Knicks. But hey, if they can pull a rabbit out of a hat, as Leon Rose oftentimes can, I'd go after Giannis in a heartbeat. It's just, what type of package could they entice for the Milwaukee Bucks? And is it a 3 or 4 team trade? It gets a little bit tricky in that regard.
You see the Knicks there with a plus 340 price.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
The Minnesota Vikings, J.J. McCarthy, who had such a good training camp last year, and it looked like he was pretty good, I believe, in the preseason, if I'm not mistaken, ended up going down for the full year. The Vikings are still obviously committed to him.
They knew that McCarthy was going to be available at some point in June. And McCarthy actually went on record last week and confirmed 2 weeks ago he was cleared medically. He did work last week. And he's going to be their starter.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Twisted Tuesday continues. This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency, SportsGrid Radio and Television Network, Sirius XM Channel 159. We're kicking it with All Access Football.com's and the NFL Draft Bibles. Rick Saratella right now. Before we get to the CFL, Rick, we've got college football fever. Everybody's getting fired up for these big games. Texas are 3-point underdogs against Ohio State. Clemson are 3-point favorites against LSU. But a game that you got your eye on, Syracuse and Tennessee. And this is a warning to everybody that sees these point spreads and you want to start clicking and stuff. Make sure, because not every sports book will let you know that it's a neutral field game. And this one happens to be a neutral field game, Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. And Tennessee are 12.5-point favorites against the Cuse. But, Rick, you think the Vols could be vulnerable early in the season?
Yeah, I think we're going to put a couple teams on upset alert early on in week 1 college football. And these are two programs, I think, Gabe, trending in opposite directions. You got Tennessee, who's still kind of circling in turmoil after that whole Nico fiasco. I feel like that could be a boom or bust type of momentum situation. Like either they're going to rally around Heupel and dominate, or things are going to start to crumble there in Knoxville. And I'll tell you what, I don't know of a better recruiter in college football. Maybe Dabo, maybe Kirby Smart, but Fran Brown is right there with the best of them. He's got a hotshot quarterback from LSU, this Ricky Collins at quarterback. He has raided New Jersey and stolen all the elite talent from the state of New Jersey. And Syracuse is the real deal. Like, this is a big-time program, and I think they can really jumpstart a lot of hype that the Carrier Dome and Syracuse want to bring on this upcoming season.
And a last college football note, Jake Garcia transfers from East Carolina to Michigan, to Ann Arbor. And it's interesting because there's so much talk about Underwood in Michigan, but they don't want to just hand him the job, right? They want him to earn the job. And you saw even Arch Manning was eased into this thing. Michigan are going to Norman, Oklahoma, guys, in like week 2. Right, they're going to Nebraska in week 4. Like this is live bullets type of stuff, like right out of the gate. They were hoping that the Leak kid out of Fresno State would sort of ease into things. They liked him. They played against him. They saw him. They like this quarterback. He's a seat filler for Underwood. But then Leak got hurt. Jaden Davis is hurt. Underwood's okay, but like I said, it's, you don't want to throw this kid to the wolves against the Oklahoma Sooners on the road in week 2. So they bring in Garcia. What's your take on Garcia?
Well, Garcia's very mobile, elusive, scramble, can extend plays, maybe has to reel in some of the accuracy. But I thought this was an interesting decision because all the hoopla was surrounding Underwood, and I thought he was going to be the guy. It makes me question at this juncture, like maybe there was something in the spring that made Michigan a little bit hesitant opening the season with Underwood.
They don't think he's ready. I'll cut to the chase. All the hype. They don't think he's ready to go in week 1.
Yeah. And I think Garcia probably scouted a situation where he felt like he could come in and compete and win a starting job. So I think this is something worth keeping an eye on in training camp.
That's why I told you. You and I talked about it, baby. Justice Haynes getting a lot of touches, my man.
I'm a big fan.
It's going to be right, left. Michigan are going to be like a run-heavy team to start the year this year, and it's worked for them in the past, so I got no problem with it. This guy might be the best back that they've, I don't want to say ever had, but he's good. So CFL football, speaking of good, you called it before the year started, Rick. You believed in the Montreal Alouettes continuing to play top-notch football. And we're 2 weeks in only, but they look like the class of the league. You know what I mean? Like, there's sort of like them, and then there's everybody else right now.
Yeah, I think so. They're just head and shoulders, especially with the defense. Their defense is just playing above and beyond. And when you have a good defense in the Canadian Football League, it goes a long ways. And shout out to GM Danny Matocha. Does a great job there, scouring the waiver wire, constantly adding players. And they are actually my best bet this week. I think they're going to go into Edmonton. Sorry, Elks brethren, but I think they're going to go into Edmonton and take care of business easily.
Yeah, I think even Elk fans are kind of like 5. It was 5. It's up to 5.5. This is, the Alouettes are going to roll them, guys. They're relentless. The Alouettes don't take the pedal off the metal. Their defense confuses quarterbacks. There's only 3 downs, so you're going 2 and out, or you turn the ball over. So the Alouettes just rack up the possessions throughout the game. Last week, they had 3 touchdowns and 6 field goals. Right? Like, they get a lot of touches. And Davis Alexander, 6-0 as a starter. He just does the right things. You know what I mean? If someone's open, he throws it. If he's not, he's going to run it. You know what I mean? Like, he made a good decision maker. Like, for them to replace Cody Fajardo, who was, won a Grey Cup for them, says something, right? It says, no, we're going to go with Davis Alexander right now. Rough Riders are 2.5-point favorites. Argos continue to struggle, Rick. This offense is just terrible right now.
Yeah, the Argos sink is shipping. I mean, this team could very well start off 0-4.
Pardon the pun, but yes.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And how about Saskatchewan with this new 1-2 punch in the backfield, the newly signed Kadeem Carey, alleviating AJ Alouette with Trevor Harris. I mean, this is incredible backfield. I think Saskatchewan is hot. In fact, I think I've got Saskatchewan maybe up to number 2 or number 3, just right behind Winnipeg in the CFL power rankings. I'm a big believer in Corey Mace.
I wouldn't be surprised to see the Riders in the Grey Cup this year, as much as it pains me to say that. All right, we got like 1 minute here. So we got the Ottawa Red Blacks, Red Blacks have had a tough schedule to start the season. They had to play Montreal. They were on the road week 1 in Saskatchewan. Now they got to go to Calgary. But I tell you, this Calgary team's playing with house money, man. You and I talked about it. I love the over 6.5 win total. They're already 2-0. And then you got the Bombers. I got to keep my eye on this Nate Rourke situation. He's got an oblique strain, but you said it. Let's see what Nate Rourke is. Vernon Adams might be better than Nate Rourke, guys. And the BC Lions can't stop the Bombers' ground game ever, Rick. I've seen this for years. What do you quickly think about Saturday's games? Ottawa, Calgary, Winnipeg, BC.
Winnipeg reminded us how well coached they are. I think Winnipeg takes that game, and Calgary is going to go to 3-0. Vernon Adams, 3 rushing first downs and a rushing score. He's the early leader in the clubhouse for MOP.
Yeah, Vernon Adams is balling right now. Rick Saratella, NFL Draft Bible, allaccessfootball.com, breaking it down. We'll catch up with Rick next Tuesday.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis, because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
Plenty of takeaways from Yankees-Dodgers where LA sent the message on Saturday, and the only way the Yankees could salvage it was somehow beating Yamamoto, and they did.
You're staring a sweep in the face. And after losing the World Series, knowing what the opponent is, you know what the narrative would have been on Sunday Night Monday. Oh, Yankees get swept by the Dodgers.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Does a guy like Giannis fit onto that roster if you can make some of those changes?
I just don't see a KD pursuit as being realistic for the Knicks. But hey, if they can pull a rabbit out of a hat, as Leon Rose oftentimes can, I'd go after Giannis in a heartbeat. It's just, what type of package could they entice for the Milwaukee Bucks? And is it a 3 or 4 team trade? It gets a little bit tricky in that regard.
You see the Knicks there with a plus 340 price.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
The Minnesota Vikings, J.J. McCarthy, who had such a good training camp last year, and it looked like he was pretty good, I believe, in the preseason, if I'm not mistaken, ended up going down for the full year. The Vikings are still obviously committed to him.
They knew that McCarthy was going to be available at some point in June. And McCarthy actually went on record last week and confirmed 2 weeks ago he was cleared medically. He did work last week. And he's going to be their starter.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, let's roll. We're into the home stretch right now, and Cam's taking a look at the Australian ponies because he lost his money on the Edmonton Oilers. It's the trying to get the money back. The Empire strikes back.
Number 6 game at Balaclava. Menace to sobriety. I thought it was
not
society,
but sobriety. That's a good name, actually.
It's amazing. He was 12-1. They bet him down to 6-1. Obviously, people were betting on
Might as
the
well
name.
just name your horse Drunk Driver.
Yeah.
And down the stretch comes Drunk Driver. Here comes Drunk Driver down the stretch. That'd be great, Kevin Horse. People get offended. It'd be like, no. You can't name your horse Drunk Driver.
You call him Drunk
It would be
Horse,
great,
though. I
though.
like that.
And here comes Drunk Driver on the outside.
Oh, he's driving drunk now. He's like in second last. But
Or Drunk Jockey would be another good one. Drunk Jockey. And Drunk Jockey comes down the stretch.
I love it. Menace to Sobriety. What a great handle. That's a great name.
That is a good. Very, very good. Yeah, you almost have to bet on it. Just put a little on it.
I did.
And people will, just because they're going to see the name, say, yeah, you know what? I'm a drunk, so I'm going to get it on that. 3-0 Canada. 3-0 Canada right now. We're going into the 60th minute. Pretty dominant performance by the Canadians. Albeit, I should note, actually, Honduras should have scored like 2-3 times. It's a miracle. Like the goalie got beat. The defender was one of those deals where the defender like made the save in the box and nearly scored another time. But whatever. It's 3-0 Canada. So even if Honduras scores, Canada's in control. But for people who played the clean sheet and the totals and all that, just quickly, so Abbotsford and, man, these guys play close games, guys. I'm telling you, man, all these games, they're always going to overtime. Total's 4.5 right now. It's 1-1 after 2 periods of play. Total's 4.5. I did jump in on Abbotsford, Cam, minus 115. Why not? But to go to overtime, it's only plus 140. But I'm telling you guys, I don't like betting. Listen, I prefer a 5.5 than a 4.5 here. This game's probably going to overtime tied at 1. Like, these guys go to overtime all the time. So I wouldn't be surprised if it did at plus 140 to go to OT here. And even though, the total 4.5 is under 4.5, under minus 145. Major League Baseball, I took the Dodgers when it was 3-3. I see the Dodgers are now winning 5-3. That's good. Guardians are still leading the Giants 3-2 right now, mid-8. Stros destroying the Athletics 9-0 right now. We got a best of X if we can roll this, Steve. This is a good one, actually. Check this guy out. Look at this fat-ass punter. Look at him. Go down the field here. Somebody takes him out here. Watch. Boom. Look at the guy. The thing is, if you look at the play, he really didn't even get hit that hard.
No.
Right? Like, Buddy sort of ran into him, pushed him down. Like,
he drop kicks the ball,
look at this. Like, look.
Wow.
He drop kicks the ball. It was from blindsided.
It was actually
but look how he's dead
guy.
after Ken. He's like lying first. He's like, oh.
He runs like a baby. He's so big. He's like waddling down the.
Everybody starts booing. Boo. It's like, leave him alone.
Yeah, leave him alone. He's
that guy can't be out there, Cam. Like, I'd be using him in short yardage situations, not as a punter.
Yeah, like push stuff. Yeah, like no, he's got good
put
form.
him on the goal line. Like, yeah, just say, you know, dude, we'll put you on the half-yard line. Just fall forward, like you score a touchdown.
Good in the CFL. 1 yard off the ball, he just got right there. Sold. That was amazing.
Yeah, I don't know what arena league this is. Like, there's a lot of them right now. There's different levels to this stuff. This must be the one Loud Esmond's gonna sell us on.
Oh yeah,
hey,
no,
guys,
like,
I got an arena football league.
Fat and, like, out of shape. Like, what is this league?
Yeah, like,
I'm looking at the players going, what?
Yeah, like the old arena league guys was like guys that played in the NFL. It was like, oh, hey, he was an NFL. That guy's a good quarterback. Like, now the arena league, they're playing in the Dream Mall in the Meadowlands in New Jersey. That's where their championship game was. It actually looked pretty good on TV, though, I got to say. It really did. But there's different arena leagues now. I'm not sure which this one. This is like the lower one, obviously. But nevertheless, all right, so tomorrow night will be golf night, Cam. Coming off a major, but golf just keeps rolling. So you got the Travelers Championship this week. NBA Finals will be on Thursday. And then tomorrow, you got Man City at noon Eastern, guys. So Man City make their debut against Casablanca from Morocco. Man City are 28-1 favorites. The total is 3.5/4. So like they're expecting goals in this game. Real Madrid are playing Al Hilal Riyadh. They're from the Saudi Arabian team here. They're not bad, actually. Real Madrid are super good, and they're only minus 300 favorites, actually. So it sort of shows to tell you. Oh, Juventus play tomorrow. whether or not you're on